Let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go. Let's go. Nothing's gonna stop us today. Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on. So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever, wherever you find yourself. Welcome to the Power Series, your only show that demystifies the Power Platform to the barest minimum for you to understand, to learn, and make your lives better. Today's episode, I would say, is the last but one climax for the series we've been doing with the AI builder. So for the past 2 or 3 episodes, we have been using the AI builder to build different kind of AI processes. You know, key amongst them was the invoice processing we built last week. Now, today we're going to now use that invoice processing custom AI module we created in Power Platform. We're going to now use that in an end-to-end scenario where we see how we can use that model in a scenario where we receive an email with an invoice. We extract that email, store that email, process that email, and store that processed data somewhere. Well, if this sounds like something that's of interest to you, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that anytime we release a new video, you would get it. But before we get started in today's episode, let's go for the montage and we will be right back. Awesome, we are back. We're back. Awesome Sunday, another opportunity to learn something interesting and fun. So tell your friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to come join, right? To come join the stream so we learn something interesting. So last week we created a custom, right, invoice processing AI module. We created our own dummy invoice and we trained it and we're able to recognize it when, we pass the PDF to it, right? Now, in today's episode, we're going to take that AI model, that AI builder model, we're going to take that, bring it into a Power Automate flow, all right? That is going to be processed. Now, the scenario today is we have an email that is dedicated to receiving invoices from our vendors, our clients, however I want to call that. So we're going to be monitoring that inbox or that email. Anytime an invoice is sent as an attachment to that email, we want our automated process to kick in. Extract that invoice, store that invoice in OneDrive, and now calling our Power Automate to kicking, AI model to kicking, process that invoice and store the data either in the database table, in a SharePoint list, or directly in SharePoint, anyhow you want to do it. For the purpose of this episode, we will go through the process of setting up a dummy mailbox and then looking at the invoices and then running this example. So let's get right into it. So first of all, let's open up our Power Platform environment, and I'll share this with you. If it's the first time you're joining us, welcome to the show. Please do also subscribe to the channel so that we can grow this. If you missed the other episodes, you can always catch them on demand on my YouTube channel. Once you register, you can watch all the videos on demand. So let's do this. Let's go here. So I always go to portal.office.com and this should open up for me. So first steps. So the first thing we're going to do now is we are going to create a mailbox, a fictional mailbox that we'll be using to receive the emails. All right. Then, yeah, this is what we're going to use. All right. We're going to use, then we'll now go ahead and create the flow to leverage or to use that process. Okay. So let's go. So here, I'm going to open the admin tab because I'm coming to create a mailbox, and that's going to allow me to direct all the emails to that specific box. Now, it doesn't, you don't necessarily need to have a specific mailbox to do this. You can do this on any mailbox, all right? But ideally, the scenario I'm trying to create is that as a business, as a company, as an entity, you have different emails. Business are this, invoice. So you probably would have a specific email which you've instructed all your vendors or clients to send invoices to. And that's just the scenario we're trying to create. Okay. So this might be in two parts because of the processes. And I want to take my time to explain this for you to grasp. So we'll walk through the process. If this one ends in an hour, we're not able to do it, we'll do a part 2 of it and get it to work. So don't stress yourself so much if we're unable to finish. But the key thing is to understand how to do it. Okay. And please, anyway you're watching me, just give me a shout out, just say hi or acknowledge you on the show. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can drop it. Let's see if we can get some people in here. So just share me, and if you're online, just share it, bring your friends along, and let's have some interesting things. So let's see. Let me just make some noise. I'm just trying to put out there that we are live. Okay. All right. Awesome. Good. So let's get into it. So I'm going to go here let's go to users. You know what? Let's do teams and groups. Okay. And let's do active groups. And you can see there's a few things here. So let's look at the shared mailboxes. Okay, we don't have any, but this is how I'm going to do it. Okay. So if I have to use a user, because of the tenant I'm using, if I have to use a user, that will require alliances. I don't want to do that. So usually what I would do is that I'll go to teams and groups. All right. And then let's see this active. Yeah, let's go to active teams and groups. And then I'll add a new group. Okay. And this would be a 365 group recommended. All right. And then I'll go to next. And I'll just call this invoice. Let's call this group. I can't even spell. So let's call this the invoice group. And then we'll say demo mailbox for invoices. Okay. VO invoices. Good. Don't worry. So next, and this is going to ask me to assign members. So for now, I think I would add myself. So here as a member, as an owner of this group, and then it would also ask me to assign members. So I'll just add myself again as a member. So now so the group email address, so you see that now it's demystifytech.net. Okay, so this assumption that is our group. So we're going to do this as so we'll call this as invoice at demystifytech.net, and this is private. It's a group, so let's say allow admin roles to be assigned to this group. This setting to permanent. No, don't worry. And I can decide to create a team, a Teams group for this, so that it will have an associated Microsoft Teams group. I will leave this on because sometimes you even want to send messages or send approvals to a team for an invoice. All right. So I'll allow it. Else, depending on your scenario, I'm leaving this because I see a potential automation to Teams. Okay. So let's click on next. And then create the group. Now, when you click on create group, that is not the end of it. by default, groups that are created in Office 365 do not allow emails to be sent to that group. So to enable that, after you've created a group, you need to go to the group settings and allow external people to send emails to the group. All right. So I can close this. So as of now, this would only be internal. All right. This will only be internal. But if I click on this and then I go to settings, you see this, let people, let me show you this. Maybe you're not seeing this well. So you see this option, this one that says let people outside the organization email this team, right? So what this means is that now people can now use invoice at demystifytech.net and then send an email and it will come to this group. All right. And because I'm a member of this group, anything drops in this group, I'll get a notification. All right. So now we'll be watching this, and actually it's a very valid point. I know there are mailboxes that this works with. This is not a mailbox, it's a group thing. So yeah, we'll check. Let's just go with this. I foresee something, but let's just go with this. All right. So I'll check this and send copies of team emails and event to team members inboxes. Yeah, this is just going to send it directly to the inbox. But if you're a member of a team, you already would get the notification. So, I mean, don't worry. We can. Well, let's just leave this. Don't show team email address in Outbox. That's okay. External file sharing. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. The key thing is let people outside the organization email this. All right. And we're not sending any copies to this. Once you're a member of the group, any email that comes in, you would get it. Okay. So let's go ahead and save this. And that should be done now. Now, for us to test it, the team is not ready. It's still processing. Okay. So let's refresh this. And there you go. See that now the Teams is ready for it. So this is Invoice. So to test it, okay, I'm going to, and this is the reason why I always open Office, so I can get all my apps in one space. So let's go and open Outlook, which will open Outlook into another tab for us with this logged in account. So I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to send an email. Okay, I'm going to use my phone. I'm going to send an email from my phone to the, this is my inbox, but because I'm now part of the groups, you see that Invoice, as you can see down here. Let me show you this. So as you can see, as part of my groups, Invoice is one of them, right? So I can see stuff that comes in there, right? So if you open Invoice, all you're saying is just, the group is ready and all that. So I'm going to use my phone, and I'm going to send a test. I'm going to send a test email from my phone to this email address. So we see that the box is working. All right. So let's go ahead and compose. And this is going to invoice at demystifytech.net. Yeah, invoice at demystify. And I'll just say testing mailbox, so that you know that it's external. So I'm going to send it from Gmail, so you know that external emails can come in. And I'll say testing invoice automation email. Okay, so let's send this. It's being sent. Hopefully it should come in. It says your browser support setting on the web. No, I don't want to do this. Let's close this. Okay, there you go. Look at this. So I received another email. So now I can confirm. So check this out. So there you go. I can confirm an email just came in. Testing mailbox. All right. So I can say now this came from my, as you can see, my Gmail. All right. So pretty much we have a mailbox that's going to now receive it. And I'll be talking about, no, I can't talk about actionable messages in Power Series. Yeah, but I'll probably do a different, maybe on Demystify Tech on Fridays. So we see this. Okay, cool. So now our mailbox is set up. Okay, so now that the mailbox is set up, we're okay with this. Let's just leave this email in here. That's fine. Okay, so at this point, we don't need this any longer, so we can close it. Now let's go to our Power Automate, all right? And then also let's, for the purposes of today's session, so what we want to do is, this is what I want to do. Anytime an email now drops in this mailbox as an attachment, we will take that attachment, first of all, store it, okay? Store that attachment. Is that okay? Store that attachment, and then use that attachment, which is the invoice, call our form invoice processing we built last week, call it to extract all the data, and then we'll save it into a SharePoint list. All right. And that's what we want to do today. Now, your scenario can be different, right? We might decide to store it in a database table. You might decide to put it into my SQL Server database. You might decide to do a different process. But today, the automation, end-to-end automation, is as soon as an email with an invoice hits that mailbox, we pick it, extract the PDF. Now, so this, it can be an application, all right? So you're processing applications. It could be that is a request for something, and we might even see we might even decide to put an approval in there just for the sakes of letting you see what is capable, to say that, oh, maybe before the invoice is even processed, okay, we'll send an approval email. Hey, we received this invoice with this amount. Should we go ahead and process it? It is only when whoever has to approve it says yes, approved, then we'll go ahead and process the invoice for payment. All right. So let's check that out. Okay. So our flow would be: mailbox receives an invoice, an approval. Now the invoice is saved, right? The invoice is saved, and then an approval email is sent. Okay. Or you know what? Let's just go ahead and do this. Okay. We would process. We can decide to process the invoice, because I'm thinking that if it comes into an email, it would have been the same way as, hey, just telling someone they received an email for them to approve it before the processing starts. You know, that can be done. Or we can just say that, hey, we received this email, right? We're waiting for your approval to process the email or to process the invoice. And then when you give us the go ahead, we'll process it. All right. So email comes in, we extract the email, we save the email, we request for approval, right? When the approval is given, we process the email and store the data. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to open the list on the side. I think let's open our automate. And I don't think, let's look at my flow. I don't think the other time we created, so we have a business card reader, the sentiment analysis. We have the, I think, let me look at the solution. I think we probably created a solution for it. I don't remember. But hey, yeah. So anyway, if you're joining us today on the show, we're creating an automated end-to-end invoice processing system. Let me see if I can bring, let's bring the file up here. Okay. I think it was on download. And then, where is that? Demystify Tech. Yeah, I think it's in the AI Builder demos. Okay, let's see. Let's go to Power Series. I think it's in Assets. Nope. Okay, business card reader, AI reader. Okay, let's go back. I think I know where it is. So let's go to our AI builder. Let's go to models. Yeah, this is where we created it. So it should show in our models. Why? I thought we created a solution for it. Anyways, don't worry. Now, so last week when we created it, I think we published it. So once we've published it, it will be available for yeah, so this is it. So this is the DMZ and it's published. All right. So if we open this app, this is what we did last week. And there you go. So if I do a quick test again and upload from device, I'm doing this so if it probably remembers where I kept this is okay. So let's see. I think it was in par series. Was it production? Assets. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I'm trying. Where did we save people? Where did we save our demystified text samples? Where did we save our okay, so I think we went to downloads. There we go. There were PDFs, right? The PDFs that we had. So let's go ahead. Let's go to demystify tech. And then let's go into par series. And then we have our asset. Okay, so let's do this. Just a sec. Let's go here to show. And then we have our power. And then we have our invoice. Yeah, there you go. So bring it here. So let's open this. So it was actually on the desktop. I need to move this so we don't show power invoice. And then we had this. So let's use test one, as you can see. So this was our test invoice. Okay. So this was our test invoice here. And we just need to know, for the sakes of this, we just need to know the entities we're extracting. So as you can see, let me zoom in so that we can see it very well. So we are extracting invoice number, the date, right? The city, the number, and then the line items. Okay. The line items, and then you have the sales tax, the shipping, the subtotal, the total due. Okay, so this is what we have. So now you can decide that if we are storing this in some form of database, and here again, I'm not going to let's say best practice. This is how to store and save, right? All we need now is to create. All we need now is technically just to create sample or basic entity placeholders to store this information we are collecting. In our case, in a SharePoint list. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Let me quickly make note of this so I don't forget. So we know who the invoice is to. So we would say that I think it was full name, right? So let's close this. So you can see customer name. All right. So we have the customer name. We have the phone number. We have the city. We have the zip code. And then we have the invoice number. And then we have the invoice date. And then we have the total due. Let's go in there. The total due. We have the tax component. We have the shipping and handling. And then we have the subtotal. Okay. And then we have items. Okay. Where items is pretty much the table. Okay. The table that host it, or that's the table that has all the line items. Okay, so here we can decide to use it in in a Power Automate, in a Power Apps. So the Power Automate is what we're going to do today. Now, a Power App could be, you have a Power App that has that uses the Power Apps camera to take a picture of the invoice, and then the same process happens. All right. So let's go ahead and click. First of all, let's go to the list. Let's close this and let's see. Let's go home. Open a new tab. There you go. So I'm going to create a new list. Okay. And then we will call this, this will be a blank list. Okay. And I will call this one, we'll just call it invoice. Let's call this invoice processing. Okay. That'll be the name of the list, invoice processing. And because this is more about money is green, I like this. And look at where it's being stored. Okay. I'm putting it just in my list. Okay. And then I'll click on create. So invoice processing, that's the name of the list. Okay. So remember the steps of a few things I've just done. I started creating the email. Okay. The mailbox to receive it. We've done that. And then now I'm creating a SharePoint list, because at the end of the day, we want our invoice to be, the data from the invoice to be extracted and stored in a SharePoint list. Okay. After approval. Okay. And then, so what we can do is, obviously this one, most times, if you've done a lot of SharePoint list stuff, is always the default. Okay. So we'll rename this here. I think let's make this let's call this the customer name. All right. And then the next one will be a single one. So here is a phone. It's a phone number. I'm just doing a single line item. All right. Welcome all of you to the stream. If you don't mind, you could probably just say hi, and acknowledge you wherever you are, and we can chit chat on it. The next one here is city, single line. Then we'll add another one, which is so we can just say this is a zip code. Just create a zip code. Thank you for joining the stream. For joining us, this is the Power Series. Today we are using a custom form processing AI builder module we created last week to create an end-to-end demo of how to do automatic invoice processing. So when an email with an invoice attached to it hits a designated email address, we're going to call that module. We'll save the attachment in OneDrive and then call that module to process the invoice. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comment section and I'll answer that. So we have the zip code. I think we've done city, we've done zip code, and then invoice number. Let's add another single line text. Invoice number. And like I said, this is not, I'm not saying this is the best practice. I'm just showing you how to do this. Obviously, when you're doing this in production, you make sure that you follow all the best practices there has to be in creating all these things. So invoice number, the next one is invoice date. So we'll just do date and time, and we'll call this invoice date. No, we don't want to include the time. We'll just leave it as is. So create it. So we have so let's do something. So this, we can do currency. Currency format. We don't want any money. All right. So let's see. I think we can do just something generic. Let's see. Anyway, don't worry. We'll change this later on, right? I don't want to number of decimal places. We can do 2. I won't change the currency. There should be we have changed this, but I think I added at some point. I actually added a custom Ghana cedis, but let's see if it didn't reflect. I would have to create. I'd have to create that again. Yeah, I guess I'd have to recreate that. But you know what? Well, let's not stress ourselves on this. So I can actually change this, and for the sake of, let's just leave it this way for now. So I'll do subtotal. Okay. So we'll do the subtotal here, and then we'll add another one. Single line. We'll call this one total due. Okay, so we have our subtotal, we have a total due, and then we'll create another one and call this shipping and handling. Okay, and then the last one is a tax. Now there are items. Okay, now you realize that the items could be, there could be multiple items in it. So ideally, a simple process, a simple approach to this would be to create, how do we call it? So what you want to do is that once you finish creating this list, you create a record in this list, you get the ID, and then you probably create another SharePoint list that will have the items. Okay, so there's going to be, for every record, any item that is done will have a reference to it. But let's just not go into all the formalities and stuff on that, to make that. If that's something you want us to draw that into, we can do that as a secondary state. Okay, so what I want to do now is let's add a choice column. Okay, and then let's call this status, right? And then this one would be pending review and then approved. All right, so we have 3. I'm just creating 3 choices. Pending, review, approved. Okay, so by default, after we've done all the processes, we can go ahead and then change. We can set it to pending, and then we can send an approval. How do you call it? Approval request, waiting for the approval. So once it's approved, either it's being reviewed or it's approved, we'll get that decision, okay, from the approval process, and then we'll set it to, whether it's approved or not. But that could be something we'll do later on. But for today, the key thing is, how do you get it into, you can do further processing. Okay, so now our inbox is ready, our sample file is ready, our SharePoint list is ready. Okay, the last item we need to create now is let's go here, is our OneDrive. Okay, so the OneDrive is where we're going to store the emails. Okay, sorry, the attachment. So let me open OneDrive here, and there we go. And then in the OneDrive, okay, so this is my OneDrive. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder, right? And then I'll call this Invoice processing. All right, and then create. Now, what I am doing now, okay, this invoice processing thing this thing that I've created, this folder, is where all the attached files will be created. Now, one thing to note is that in a more production environment, you might want to have another folder, maybe called exceptions, because sometimes if your AI builder module is not able to accurately predict it, okay, or accurately extract the data. Now, sometimes you want to create a measure to say that if the information you've extracted, you can't give me, let's say, 80 plus percentage of 80 plus percent score of accuracy, okay, or certainty, don't process it. Okay, just put it in an exception folder so that I can go and manually review that invoice and process it, right? So in a production environment, you should have all these countermeasures to ensure that not everything that is not processed, is just missing. So ideally, you would have a processing, maybe an exception, and process, whatever you want to call it. All right. So now, all we need is ready. Our model is ready. Our folder is ready. Our list is ready. Our email box is ready. Now, all what is left for us is to now use the flow. So here, let's go ahead and click on use model, and we want to use, in this case, we want to use let me show you this. Let's see if I click on this. Now, we are going to use it in a Power Automate solution, okay, but not in the document automation, because they're different from using the document automation process and then creating it from your Power Automate. So I just wanted to show you this. This is also available for you under AI Builder. There's document automation, okay, and which is almost something we're trying to recreate, but in a different. Just want to show you how that works. Now, the same thing: receive a document, extract the information, validate it. So here, that's what I'm saying, that you can have a human, intervention on it, and then also export the data to your ERP or wherever you want to. You can leverage this, okay. So in our case, look at custom documents and invoices. So if this is what we want to do, because we've created it, if it's receipt, right, all these are coming soon, but this is available. So what's included, you can see this mailbox monitoring, orchestrating a pipeline, and then a monitoring pipeline. All right. So let's do this. All right. So now you can decide to go this solution path. Okay. You can decide to go this path, or because we want to learn how to do it, right, we would go the path of using Power Automate. Is that okay? But yeah, it would have been as simple as that, just like what we've done here. So if I click on get started, we select custom document. It will install the solution. This is a pre-made solution by Microsoft. It's going to install that into your environment, and you can use it. Remember, this is a Microsoft solution. We have trained our model, okay, and we want to use. So you don't want to go this route. All right, so this is a Microsoft solution that's been up, but we don't want to use it. So I'm just showing you that this is possible. So let's go close this off, and then we are going to use build. In this case, let's go here so you see this properly. So initially, I clicked on this option just to show you what the document automation solution has, and then, but in our case, we will be going with this because we are custom building it, because we have our custom needs, and that doesn't mean that the Microsoft one might not work for you. Maybe it's just that based on your requirement, you want better, more control or hands-on or setting customizations to be done. Okay, so we're going for that. So we click on this. And then, so how do you receive your document processing? See here. So Microsoft 365 Outlook, all right? So either it's coming from attached in an email, attached in a shared mailbox, Outlook shared mailbox account. Is it coming from a SharePoint library? All these options. But what is coming from an M365 account? Now, the reason why it's asking you this is that so it can set up. It's going to set up a flow. Okay, it's going to set up a flow with. So you see it. So use this process. So look at this. So now it's trying to leverage on Dataverse. And I'm going through this process for you to see the differences. All right. Now it's going to pick this, use a form processing model to extract data from the email. So this is like a pre-built model. So it's going to use this. There's AI Builder in there. There's your Outlook. There's all that. Now, if I continue with this, realize that this is now leveraging to Dataverse. In our case, we want to use, we want to use SharePoint list. Okay. That doesn't mean that I can click continue here. Okay. Let's actually sign into this. This should sign me in. I can continue with this and go modify the flow. Okay. So you take a look at this. I can continue with this. All right. but then go and modify the flow and say, no, this is what I want. I don't want to use Dataverse. I rather want to use SharePoint. It's totally allowed. All right. So see this, it says when an email arrives, V3 inbox. If you open it, there you go. Subject, there's a subject field that's the AI builder. And then it's just composing. Congratulations, you created a Cloudflow with your AI builder processing module. And it's just so here. So this is almost like how do you extract information from a form? Okay. Now, and this is the AI model we're using. So in this case, realize that it's pre-processed date, form types and attachments. So we can easily do this. We can easily, as you can see, easily do this, right? Modify this, and as you can see, send email, congrats. It's just, but again, we don't want all these cards, blah 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 stuff, all right? So to make it easy, we are going to build this on our own, right? So just, where is this? Okay. So let's do this. All right. So we are not going this part. So again, just know that this is what possible. Cool. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go back to use this and okay. Actually, I'm going to close the whole of this up. All right. So we're going to go the part. Now we have all the things ready. Looking at the time, like I said, there's going to be a part 2 of this, but don't stress it. We'll just go through it. So I'm going to go to the solution, and I like to do this in solution so that I can better organize it and maybe export it into something else. All right. So AI builder demos, that created hasn't been run. So let me create a new solution here. And I'll select the, well, let's say this would be a default. Let's use a default publisher. There's nothing wrong with it. And then I'll call this hold on. I think we had this already. AI builder demos 2 weeks ago. Yes. AI builder lab solution. Nah, you know what? Let's create our own. So we'll call this the DMZ demo. Yeah, we'll just call it DMZ demos. Okay. So there you go. We create this solution. And then in the solution, we just go ahead to create the first part of our flow and process. Okay, so DMZ. So we're going to open this up. And a solution is the best way to go because then it organizes everything you use in a solution. You can easily export it as either managed or managed and deploy it in a new environment. It also helps you with your ALM, which is application lifecycle management. So if you're doing things like source control management, push and stuff like that. Okay, so let's go to Cloud Flows. And then we go to create automation cloud flow. We'll create an automated cloud flow. All right. And then it will open up the process for us to go through, and we'll call this. Okay, we have like about 17 minutes since we didn't start. So we want to call this. We'll call this the invoice processor. All right. And then we'll look for email. Let me just enter email here. When a new email arrives, okay. When an email is not, I think there's a V3. Yeah. When a new email arrives, let me see. Let me use a V3. All right. So create. All right. So yeah, we start the process. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll try to answer that for you. Okay. So again, the process is when the email arrives, we with an attachment, we extract it. But hold on, let's see. Is this? Hold on. Okay, so when the email arrives to now, do you remember what we created? It was what? Invoice. You see that? So when in the inbox, when an email to this person, there's no CC, we don't have any from, And then we're not doing any subject filter. So let's say this includes an attachment. Yes. Importance any only with attachment. Yes. So we only want to trigger this with only emails with attachment. So if you send it, even if you send it to Invoice without an attachment, we won't do it. Now, the subject filter, we are not so in some systems, okay, you might probably tell your business, your vendors that, hey, when you're sending it, you have to prefix it to probably the invoice number. All right. So let's say in the title, in the subject, always use the invoice number as the subject, okay, or whatever that is. So we're going to make some assumptions. In our case, we're not going to do any filtering on the subject, right? But what we've instructed our vendors to do is that anytime they send an invoice, they should use the invoice number, okay, as the subject. All right. They should use the invoice number as the subject. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So here you go, inbox that is coming to this. All right. From, we don't really mind where that is coming from, but has an attachment, you know. Okay. So the next step here, so what we want to do is when that comes, we want to save that attachment. All right. We want to save that attachment. So I'm going to, let's go and do the OneDrive. Where is that? So we have OneDrive. Hold on. That should be, let's go back. Let's do OneDrive. There's OneDrive for business and there's OneDrive. Yes. So we're doing OneDrive for business. Now, difference. OneDrive standalone is just the free ones you do when you create an Outlook account. OneDrive for business is what you get when you have an enterprise, like you have an M365 subscription account. So that's what we're using. Okay. So what we want to do is to create a file. All right. I thought they had one that. Anyway. So we'll just go to create file. Okay. It's going to sign in with OneDrive, and this is doing all this for you in the background. Remember that if you were doing this as a, how do you call it? If you're doing this, you know what? Let me increase this a bit because I think it's a bit. Yeah, there you go. So that people can see it much clearer, right? I hope this is okay. I mean, if you can't see it properly, please prompt me in the chat. Okay. So the unique part, where are we saving this file? So I'm going to click on the arrow here. Now look at this. If you don't see it here, there's a folder icon here, right? Click on this folder icon. It's going to open the root for you. So when you click on it, it's going to open the root, and the root is also going to load. All right. So check this out. So this is it, right? So I started from here. Okay. And then the root, and now you can see this was the folder we created, invoice processing. Okay, so this is where we want to drop the, so click on invoice processing. This is it. This is the file part. Now the file name, okay, the file name, so the file name here, like I said, because we want to use, we've instructed our vendors that when they're sending us an invoice, they should use the invoice number, okay, as the, how do you call it? The invoice number as the title, okay? So the invoice number as a title, sorry, in the subject, okay? So we will use the invoice number, maybe concatenated with the date, okay, today's date, to create the file name, because we'll use that file name, down the line. Okay, so to do that first, let's go ahead here and then let's add a variable. So let's initiate a variable, and I'll call this var file name. Okay, let's do this. And this would be type of a string. Rename So I'll just say initialize attachment file name variable. All right. Now remember that it is also possible, okay? It is also possible for your file name. Sorry, it's possible that your email might have multiple invoices. All right. It could be that it could have multiple invoices. Is that okay? Multiple invoices. So Power Automate is smart enough to figure out, this. So what we want to do is, so let's do this. I would rather create, so let's do this. Let's just say the file name would be the subject, okay, and then the timestamp, right? That would be the file name. So let's go ahead and do this. Because we already know when the email arrives, we know what the subject is. So we can even initiate the file name automatically from here. So let's use an expression. Okay, so our expression here, we're going to use concat as the expression. And what are we concatenating as the expression? Okay, the first part of the expression would be, let's go to dynamic content, and it'll be the subject. All right, so that will be the subject. And then let's say a space. And then let's do this space. The next thing we want to concatenate here, I'll say an underscore, okay, and then I'll use UTC, yeah, and then I'll add a date to it. So let's do this. So now, just to show you what I have done, basically this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that the file name will be a concatenation of the subject and then the current UTC time. Okay, so that's just it. So this creates a file name. Now, however, because it's a PDF file, okay, let me go ahead and modify this this concatenation and then include include the PDF at the end. So let's do a comma, and then we do this, and I can do .pdf. Okay, update. So it's going to be the subject, today's date, and then .pdf. Okay, so that's going to be the file name. So now the file name here, I click on here, and it's going to be that variable we created, and then the content is going to be the attachment. Okay, now like I said, this could be, so there you go. All right, so this could be how do you call it? So this could be, there could be multiple. All right, there could be multiple of this. It's going to create files, and then it will use the, let's see, so it's going to just try to create the files with those with attachment onto it. All right, so yeah, so let's just close this. Let's close. What's the time now? Yeah, we have just 7 minutes left. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to save this for now. All right, I'm going to save this, and then we will test it. Okay, we will test it by sending an email to to the email address we've created, and see if even this very first 3 steps are created. All right, and then we'll end it there, and next week we'll do the part 2, where we now process the saved data. Okay, process the saved data into how do you call it, into the the form. So this is saved. Is it saved? Yeah, I think it's saved. So let's go ahead, right? So when the email comes, we generate a variable name. I think this will even make sense for us to move it here, because this is what I think. Because this is what I think. So you know what? I'm going to, let me copy this, and let me explain why. Because this is going to be applying to each, depending on the number of attachment that is there, right? You want it to generate unique numbers, but when you do this is just one, and it will try to create it with the same name, and you might have a problem. You get it to override, existing ones. Okay, so I'll do this, and then I'll say from my clipboard I'll add this. So what's going to happen is that if you go in here, it's creating a variable, and then what I will now do is copy this, add this here, go to my clipboard, and then create file, do it here, and then I can go ahead and delete this one. Okay, and then I can also delete, no, what I'll do is that let's save this. Yes, so sorry, so I cannot, let me do this. I cannot initialize a variable within this. So what I'll do is that I have to set the variable. So I'm going to do this, and then variable. So do this on variable, and then set the variable. Okay. So in this case, I'll set our first name, and then let's go and copy. Let's open this up. Let's save this. Sometimes let's just say AB just so it can save. Okay, don't worry, sometimes these things get jumped up. Yeah, 4 minutes. I think we can do that in 4 minutes. So all we need to do is good. So now I can open this. Yeah, and I've had this happen to me before. So let me just go out of this and then come back here and hit edit. Sometimes it just needs you to pamper it a bit. All right. There you go. So I open this up. So I need this code. So I can copy this, and then in here, I'll just paste it here, right? So let's rename this. Good practice. I always like to rename my steps. So set file name variable. Okay, good. So now I can now copy this again, bring this here, go to my clipboard and paste. Now, so I can delete this, and this is why I just explained this, that so now I don't necessarily don't worry, we'll just save this. We'll save it, go back again. So pretty much we've initialized a file name variable. Okay, and because we could have multiple attachments, we are saying that anytime you see any number of attachments you see, look through it. First of all, look at the subject, and then concatenate the current timestamp and add a PDF to it and use that as a file name. Okay, so let's go back here and let's do an edit, and then good, there you go. So we don't need this now. Good. So we've initialized a variable, we've created the file name, as you can see, and then we've now created a file with it. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to stop here. So right now we're going to stop here, test our flow, and the flow should start the first leg of the automation. And what's the first leg of the automation? The first leg of automation is that anytime there's an email with an attachment, an invoice attachment, take it, all right, take it, and then run this flow. Is that okay? So let's go ahead. And as you can see from the email here, we already did a test. I'm going to delete it. And also, as you can see from the invoice processing folder, there's nothing in here. All right. So let's go ahead. For the sakes of I'm going to open, you know what? Let me just open I'm going to open my Gmail here. And I'm going to compose. All right. For the sakes of my own privacy, I'm going to remove all this craziness. I'm going to remove all this craziness from here. All right. And let's see if I can I? Oh no. Yeah. Can I pop it out? There you go. Okay. Well, since we all see, so it's transparent, I'm going to bring this here. So this is going to invoice. There you go. All right. And because we've told our clients that when you're sending an invoice, prefix it with the invoice number. So I'll probably say this invoice is 7351088. Okay, let's say this is the invoice number. All right. And then I'll go and add the attachment. So remember this. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm just going to pick the test and open. So this email has only one attachment, and per our flow, we should get a PDF stored in OneDrive with 73 something underscore some timestamp.pdf. Okay, so let's hit send. And if this goes, let's see. We'll just be patient. Let's go here. And I'll just go back to see if this flow has been processed. So let's refresh this. And I'll open this email. Now take a look at this. So I have the email has come into the box. So there you go. Invoice test 1, and this is the subject 73 something. Okay. Now let's go see if our flow has run. So the flow has not run yet. The flow has not run yet. So let's just wait for it. Wait for it. Yes, I think I'm done with this. Let me close this. And let's open this up. Pum 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 pum. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. So yeah, we're just waiting for the flow to kick in. Oh yeah, we're top on the hour. Okay, so we're just waiting for the flow to kick in because we want to test the first part of our flow. Okay, so let me just make sure that. Let's see if there's nothing in here. Let's refresh. Yeah, we've not done the list part, so actually we can close the list for today. So right now, today, we're just testing. I mean, the first part is done. It's hit it. There was an attachment. So that came into invoice. So let's see. Hold on, let's see what. Let me hit test here to see. Okay, so send an email. So let's just test this. I don't know why. Okay, so that says okay, so I'm going to do this. You know what, we're going to do this again. So I'm going to send a new email, and I'll say this is going to Invoice or Demystify Tech. And then this time I use 778899. And then I'll let's attach test 1 again to it. And I'll say FYI, and then we'll send. So I just want to be sure that it's not screaming because we've done anything terrible to it. All right, so let's see the email. All right, so the second email has come. It hits the email. So we know that at least it's in here. We see the PDF is in. So let's go. Now, let's see. We're just waiting. Warm up and run this. So now, if it picks up and runs it, then there should be 2 here. The next test I would want us to do is to send an email and then use maybe multiple attachments. So add 2 or 3 attachments so that we can see the flow separates them. Okay, so it's just waiting. It's running. It's running. 4 minutes into the show. Okay, so let's leave it here. We've created the folder, the list, the email. We've created the first part of the flow. We're testing that. So what we're going to do now is next week we take it off from where we left, which is here. And then now we're going to see how to extract this saved PDF which will now be in OneDrive. We'll pick these emails, process them, extract the information, and then save it in a SharePoint list. So that is what we're going to do for next week. If this sounds like something you want to, join us and learn and do more of, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so when we go live, you can get a notification. And also make sure, to share with friends, tell friends to join so we learn together. Well, until I come your way again next week, Sunday, stay safe. Let's make the world a better place. Let's, be safe, enjoy, and be each other's keeper. Till then, I still remain Samuel Adjani. I am out.